1838. We have an active shooter on the interstate.
And then next thing I know, everyone was on the ground, and it was shooting.
He just kept saying, "Take care of the baby, I hear a baby."
I've never seen such fear here.
I'm so sad for their families because I was spared.
It is very strange how a matter of seconds can change you forever. Something can take something away or give you something you didn't have before, and it's there for the rest of your life.
I don't really think of the shooter or the negative part of it. I just reflect back on everyone's kindness, how the communities came together, Midland, Odessa.
God bless West Texas, man. God bless West Texas.
"57 minutes. That's all one person needed. It was 1 year ago today our community experienced firsthand the darkest side of humanity.
Since that day, our community has shown incredible strength, coming together to heal in unbelievable ways. Good evening, I'm Tatum Gwynn, and tonight we are reflecting on the day that changed our community forever. And who better to tell that story than the heroes who were there and helped save countless lives? Tonight we are telling their stories, some of them for the very first time in this News West 9 special, 57 minutes through their eyes.
August 31st, 2019. Just another weekend in West Texas.
Being a Saturday, I was home, but it was the day after my birthday. My birthday is August 30th.
We went to see a movie as a family, of course, my husband and I and my son. Something that was just spare of the moment.
The Office, I was binge watching The Office. We were sitting at the stoplight, we were headed to Market Street.
It was a hot summer day, pretty typical, until it wasn't.
We've had a trooper down there, needing assistance, shots fired.
DPS trooper Chuck Pryor and his partner pulled over a gold sedan along Interstate 20 near West Loop 250. That's where the first shot rang out. Trooper Pryor was hit.
Do we have an active shooter? No, negative. The shooter's left head.
No one knew. It was just the beginning.
Another gunshot victim at mile marker 126 by Foreman.
A second victim just miles from where the trooper was shot. And then another. And another.
Sorry, I don't have time to answer everyone. We have multiple lines, multiple gunshot victims. I'm doing the best I can.
We started getting so many calls of multiple gunshot victims and all along the interstate.
At the same time, word is starting to spread to officers across Midland and Odessa. They all drop what they're doing.
I got dressed in my gear as quick as I could, started making phone calls to make sure we could get as many people out as possible.
I went and turned on the radio. It's total chaos on the radio. Took me a little bit to figure out there was so much information being disseminated, trying to decipher where or what was going on. It was difficult.
I got on the interstate. I came up to a victim on the side of the road that had been shot, so I stopped and rendered aid to them.
I'm in the area, I find the victim there, been shot in the leg. I'm staying there, I'm trying to do what I can to help him.
This is real. You know, let's just kick it into higher gear and let's go.
I don't know that anybody ever expected to get into the fight that was coming from the house.
1838. We have an active shooter on the interstate.
4 victims along the interstate. Reality coming into focus at this point.
There's another gunshot victim at 125 mile marker westbound. We have an active shooter on the interstate westbound. I'm still heading westbound.
And he was still on the move.
The possible actor was on his way towards Odessa, which that's all I knew.
There's no preparing for something like this.
But again, right now, the message is stay inside your homes. Do not go outside.
People going about their day had no idea the danger in their presence until it was too late. Shauna Saxton was almost one of those people.
We're waiting, the light turns green and the cars start rolling. I mean, we're not even at the acceleration part yet, just everybody's starting to move. And we hear a bam, bam, bam. And it was so heavy and so close that you could feel it. I happened to look over my shoulder to the left. And at that moment, the gold car was rolling up. And then as he was rolling, got my attention. I looked again. I saw something odd, and I looked again, and he had a gun.
She came face to face with the shooter. She was one of the few able to escape.
There's a gun! He's got a gun! I just started swerving and changing and shifting and honking like crazy. I was looking for my evasion. I was trying to look for where I could get away from that car right there. It's just the strangest, I'm sorry. It is the strangest feeling to have someone who I have no argument with pointing a very large weapon at me, and he wants me to die. And there's no sense, I can't make any sense of that.
It's the same story at more than 20 other locations.
You got one screaming, one's pleading, begging for help because the first responders hadn't got to him yet, because it's kind of like, you know, a war zone. I mean, it definitely was a war zone. It wasn't a typical active shooter. There was no rhyme or reason to what he was doing. I can't believe this is happening, but, you know, call after call, you're like, it is happening. These people are hurting. You know, they're mourning, they're injured.
EMS 2, Engine 2, respond to another gunshot victim, 7300 West I-20. EMS 2, Engine 2, respond to another gunshot victim, 7300 West I-20. Battalion 2, which one? I have 4 of them on I-20 right now.
By this point, first responders are outnumbered by the flood of 911 calls and the growing number of victims.
And that's when victim after victim after victim started coming out.
We can't always offer them hope because some of those cases, there wasn't hope for that loved one.
We ran out of ambulances really fast. They were having patrol units transfer people to the hospital.
We're getting multiple calls for different victims at different locations.
We've only got so many ambulances. Who gets the ambulance? You know, once you've used them all, then what happens?
We were waiting for an ambulance to come. After several minutes, we made the decision to transport the individual in the back of my unit to the hospital, get him there quicker.
You don't have time to think, because if we did have time to think, we would have probably just been emotional basket cases with everything that's going on.
Hearing all that radio traffic and just how bad it was, hearing the different codes that these officers are calling out, hearing dispatch sending to another gunshot victim, hearing the stress in their voice, because I hear their voices all the time, and to hear that change in their voice, it's like, wow, this is real.
There's a gentleman going up and down the interstate right now, shooting people out of his vehicle. Do you have any count on the gunshot victims we had?
The number of casualties stacking up, and medical personnel prepping for a fight of their own.
My thought was, well, this is our turn. It's our turn to be in the spotlight. It's our turn to have to deal with the horrors of a mass shooting, and I hope we're up to the task.
A task growing more dire by the second. Officers still were not able to lay eyes on the shooter.
We never prepared for something mobile.
A mobile active shooter, which is pretty much unheard of, and it was just one of those mass chaos situations.
They last about 6 minutes. This is a 57-minute event, an hour event. Wow, yeah, and again, that's where the frustration, you look at some body cam video and things like that, and these men and women are just absolutely upset and frustrated that they can't find this guy. And I think from our perspective, you know, absolutely dealing with the killed and injured, that's a huge thing. But after that, it's just the frustration and not being able to find this person and stop it, because that's the mission, right? When you have an active shooter, the mission is stop it. Stop it so there's no more victims.
20 minutes in, and it hadn't stopped. There were still more victims.
But what made it difficult was he was on the loose, still running around town, so we knew we had the initial surge of like 17 patients, right? And we had to treat them, but once we had all rooms for them, not only did we have to get them cared for, we needed to make room for possibly 17 more, 20 more, 30 more.
Our team came together and we were able to take care of those patients quickly, move them out, and prepare, because we didn't know how many we were getting. And I think that was the scariest part, because we didn't know when it was going to stop.
There's at least one male occupying a mail truck. They believe he's part of it.
Officers didn't know it yet, but this is when the shooter ditches his car and takes another, a U.S. postal truck driven by one of the victims.
Do we know if the people have moved from one vehicle to the other, or do we have two vehicles?
Confusion, chaos, and no clarity on where the shooter came from and where he was headed.
You have units hearing this and they're responding to an area where our bad guy's not even there anymore. So there's a lag. So what you have to do is try to find a pattern.
Headquarters, do we have any update on this active shooter anymore, or is he at Home Depot?
It's frustrating because we were one step behind him the entire time and trying to predict where it was going.
With information and word of more victims coming in from all over each city, officers were working off of instinct rather than direction.
If this wasn't good, then what's our next best information that we're getting?
That spot was wherever the next call came from.
I hear someone say something to the effect of, he's headed towards Synergy.
Before, give me status inside Synergy.
Somewhere along the way, someone got information that he was at the Synergy and that there were shots fired at the Synergy.
I pulled in and it was chaos, pandemonium.
What, you say shots are inside?
And what it sounds like.
Go, wait!
The fear, that was one thing that always has stuck with me, is I've never seen such fear here.
With word of danger coming from inside the theater, people ran out while a team of officers made their way in.
I remember it was like fighting a tide of people, a wave of people. Of course, everybody was scared. It was almost a surreal scene, because as we made our way into the theaters, even though the theaters were empty, the individuals were empty because people had already come out, it was like deja vu, like I've seen this scene before, but not here, and you would never imagine it to be here. And looking at the empty rows of seats, the shoes, the sandals, the drinks overturned, the dropped popcorn, clothing that had been dropped and left behind, you could tell that people had left. It was chaos. It had been chaos.
The theater was clear.
Headquarters, at this time, there's no active shooter here. There's no active shooter in here yet.
That's where he was heading. He wasn't there yet, but he was heading there.
Inside. Come on. Hey, make way. Clear out.
You have to say, well, some people are going to go to these areas where we have a large concentration of people. So we have to fortify those places.
So there was quite a few of us there holding security.
As people ran to safety, attention moved briefly away from the theater.
When we found out he wasn't at the Synergy, I started leaving, and another gunshot victim came out at 191 and Fadri. So I said, I'm close, I'm gonna go.
So that's when I pulled my vehicle out of the parking lot onto the roadway to kind of block anything, because we knew the threat was most likely coming from the west. So those officers took off.
Where's our shooter at?
Started driving was checking my computer, looking at the screen for the details, and 2 bullets came through my door. One hit me in the leg, one hit me in the hand. And it just happened so fast before I knew it. I mean, he had passed me.
Then at that point, we heard gunshots to our west.
I saw a white minivan coming out that I didn't register at all, that it could have possibly been him. So when the bullet started hitting my door, I was like, oh no, I thought I was done.
They're in mad crossfire. We need them out.
Him shooting me and Officer Owens alerted everybody else that was still at the Synergy. And I mean, he was moving fast.
If you're not actively engaged in this, cover everything else. Get our people out of the way, get our citizens out of the way.
So at that point, I set up behind my unit, behind my hood, and I saw the mail carrier, the van, coming towards us and kind of weaving in and out. Prater, he got back into his unit, and he told me that he was going to push him. So as the gunman was approaching us, Prater ended up going around the backside of my unit and clipped him and caused him to skid. Before he clipped him, I was able to get 5 shots on the windshield of the carrier, the mail carrier, and I just kind of took off running after that because it was skidding towards my unit. And then once I realized that it wasn't that the crash had occurred, I heard it happen, and that there was nothing rolling towards me, and I could turn back around. I did so, and the back of the mail carrier was facing towards me at that point, and I took 5 more shots with my patrol rifle into the back window. I saw the gunman kind of leaning over to the passenger side from the driver's side, so I didn't know if he was reaching for something, if he was down at that point. We didn't know. We just had to make sure the threat was eliminated.
One suspect down, in custody.
As we reflect back on August 31st, 2019, we know that there is a part of our community that will never be the same. One thing we have learned since then is that the actions our officers took that day saved a lot of lives.
That hour seemed much, much longer than an hour.
That day for first responders was nowhere near over.
I may have gone home, I believe, maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was back by 7.
I was there till midnight that night.
And their work was only beginning. Corey Richardson is Supervisory Senior Resident Agent for the Midland FBI.
I think the obvious thing for everyone is that it's to be mobile and to cover the geographic area that was covered, and the number of victims and crime scenes that we had over that geographic area is just unprecedented. We've not seen something like that before. We've got 911 calls coming in over here, and putting all that and synthesizing what's going on and what the problem is, that's a challenge.
Investigators from all over the state converged in West Texas, piecing together that tragic day, while local officers processed what they'd been through.
A lot of frustration. Frustration that we couldn't stop this person quicker. Frustration that that this happened in our town, in our city.
But I want to say this too. When we were driving away and trying to be safe, our officers were headed in. They were going in. That officer that was headed down the road, he was headed straight into danger as far as he was concerned, and he did it.
First responders, both on and off duty, rushed to scenes across Odessa to help whoever they could, like the Davis family. They had been on their way to the grocery store with their twins in the back seat.
We just pulled up just like any other stoplight and looked down at my phone, and next thing you know, here comes the bullets.
Their then 1-year-old daughter, Anderson, was shot. She was the youngest victim. Within moments, help was knocking on the car window.
or just looking out my car window and seeing who we will always call our heroes. Brad, Reese, and Kellen Foreman. They were off-duty firemen and paramedics with OFR that were eating at a nearby restaurant. And those two men chose to run into gunfire that day when so many people, and I probably would have been the same, were choosing to run away from it. And they ran into the sound, and I rolled down my car window, couldn't even figure out what to do, and they kind of just guided us through the rest of what probably wasn't that long, but felt like, all day,
forever.
Felt like forever.
More help was on the way. Captain Jason Cotton was on duty. His unit couldn't get through the traffic, so he took off on foot to help.
I was running down 42nd Street with Anderson in my arms and just yelling, "Jason, we need an ambulance. We can't get through. We need an ambulance."
And so the ambulance was about to pass by. They picked up a gentleman just down the street from us. And so Jason literally jumped in front of the ambulance and stopped the ambulance and threw Kelby and Kellen and Anderson in the back of the ambulance.
The quick thinking of Reese, Foreman, and Cotton saved Anderson's life.
And the choices all of those first responders made that day, they did save lives. And when they save someone so precious to you and so important to us, I mean, it's life-changing, and I know they weren't able to save everyone that day, and that's heartbreaking to me. But I'm so thankful that they worked so hard to just do the best that they could and to be heroes when we needed them the most.
Across town, officers from all agencies surrounded Synergy, a place where just a short time before was packed with people enjoying their Saturday.
It's not something that you forget. You can't just get an eraser and erase what happened, because it happened.
Simona Rivas was with her family that day. They decided to go see a movie spur of the moment. They were able to get away just seconds before gunfire.
We had no clue what was going on. We had no idea as we were running out of that building if that shooter was there or not. We did not know if we were going to come out alive or be gunned down by the time we were running out of there.
Through all of the chaos, one thing was clear.
And I've never seen so many police officers that day.
She saw firsthand the lives law enforcement saved at the theater.
It's a good thing that the police officers, were smart enough to block him. Otherwise, it would have been worse, more people killed because they were in that open field. There was I'm sure over 100 people that were there under, with no cover. I mean, they were just there.
Officer Santana has spent the last year healing both his physical wounds and others you can't see.
There are scars, and there are still those black spots where there's still bullet fragments.
Do you remember?
There's a piece. Oh yeah, because it still aches. This is the first time I've talked to anybody about it, because like I said, for a long time I felt a lot of shame for not stopping him when I felt like it was my job, my responsibility to stop him, but instead he got past me.
Don't feel shame. No, you shouldn't feel
That's something that I overcame, because I did have to watch. I have to watch my video, and it showed otherwise. It showed that I had I'm surprised I even had time to duck.
Santana needed surgery and spent several days in the hospital. He has since fully recovered and returned to duty as a detective. The other officer with Midland Police, Zach Owens, was injured near Santana. He too has had multiple surgeries and has recovered and returned to duty, this time on a different assignment. Today, he's serving as a canine officer. Officer Vival is still working through the role that he played.
It's still a little bit difficult to speak about. I've had breakdowns and stuff like that, and it kind of helps. This actually I didn't think it would be, but it's kind of therapeutic just talking about it.
He's not the only one that still has a hard time living with that day.
They still can't talk about it. They've dealt with it, but they really can't talk about it right now because they'll just break down.
September 1st, 2019, one day after the mass shooting. 911 dispatchers were officially recognized as first responders in the state of Texas. As for all first responders, they carry the weight of their duty every single day as they grieve over the lives they couldn't save.
I think we feel a pretty deep responsibility for the citizens in our community, and you take things like this very personally.
When I think of that day, my thought goes towards the families that were affected on that terrible day. And, I have a family myself. When that call did come out, I said a silent prayer for them. Hopefully they were okay, because I knew it was a mobile shooting, so I didn't know where it was going to be next.
From that dark day, officers have found moments of light.
Doing police work, you see almost nothing but the bad constantly. It's a daily thing of seeing nothing but the horrible things that a lot of people do to each other. After this happened, I started seeing a lot of the kindness and the good and love that people, they do have, and they did show. And that boost of positivity was something personally that I needed.
It was also a reminder of the oath every officer took the day they earned their badge: protect and serve, no matter what.
When we get called out for something as major as this, there's no hesitation, shorts, flip-flops, whatever we got to do, we know we got to get up and go to help our community and protect our community.
I still speak to different officers now that I didn't realize what they did that day, and to hear what they did, it's just crazy. Just the amount of bravery and courage that it took for them to do what they did.
I am so proud of every single one of those officers, not just my department, every single one of them, because they knew what they were getting into. They knew that whether they were on duty at the time or off duty at the time, they knew that when they left, they were having to go hunt and find someone that was trying to kill people and get it stopped as quickly as possible.
And they were risking everything for all of us. And that is extremely brave.
We'd all do it again in a heartbeat.
We 100 believe that God had them there that day, and we have said time and time again that God did not cause any of the events that happened that day, but he does find ways to work through his people, and we strongly believe he worked through the first responders and just people of Odessa that day.
Whoa, you strong, big girl.
Today, little Anderson has recovered. What a story she has to tell one day.
I believe she was a symbol of hope.
Yes.
In the absolute darkest and worst of times, and kind of was the smile seen around the world, because even though part of her smile had literally been knocked out and had a hole through her mouth and her tongue and just was in so much pain, she just kept smiling.
The biggest symbol of hope coming from the youngest survivor. Anderson Davis is living proof that no amount of evil can steal a smile, a person's joy, or perhaps a community's strength.
I don't want this to be his legacy, because this is just us as a community legitimately rising up as a community and overcoming something that he tried to do. And we're all here to talk about it, and he's not.
To our fallen citizens, may the wind always be at your back. May the sunshine warm your face. The rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. To the citizens of Odessa, Midland, and the Permian Basin, we will get through this tragedy by moving forward one day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time, and 1 year at a time.
And here we are 1 year since we first showed the world what it means to be Permian Basin strong. You know, that was a phrase that we used to help us get us through those immediate days following the mass shooting. 1 year later, we are Permian Basin strong. And this is the place where our community can come to reflect, remember, and honor the lives that we lost 1 year ago today. We will all carry a piece of that day with us in our own way. There are 7 families that know that better than any of us. Our hearts are with them tonight.
There goes my heart beating, 'cause you are the reason I'm losing my sleep. Please come back now. And there goes my mind racing, and you are the reason that I'm still breathing. I'm hopeless now. I'd climb every mountain and swim every ocean just to be with you and fix what I've broken. Oh, 'cause I need you to see that you are the reason. There goes my hand shaking, and you are the reason. My heart keeps bleeding, and I need you now. And if I could turn back the clock, I'd make sure the light defeated the dark. I'd spend every hour of every day keeping you safe, and I'd climb it.